So business means exchanging of commodities and services for increasing utilities. So we call them as SWOT analysis. S stands for, I told you, strength, W stands for weakness, O stands for opportunities, and T stands for threats. There is an expansion. You can expand your business, that is through concentric. B stands for Boston, C stands for consulting, and G stands for group. So that is why we call it as BCG in a short form. Hi and a warm welcome to all dear students. I, JWsir, Commerce Faculty, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Dear students, today we shall take up the revision class or the session for your business policy of Unit 1 and 2. So that is concept and meaning of business policy and strategic planning. Now let us understand in this particular revision class the concept and meaning of business policy. The term business policy comprises of two words. It has two words. One is business and other one is policy. Business and policy. Whereas business means it is exchange of commodities and services for increasing the utilities. So business means exchanging of commodities and services for increasing utilities. But whereas policy means it may be defined as the mode of thought and the principles or the principles as well as the rules and guidelines underlying the activities of an organization or an institution. So policy means it may be defined as the mode of thought and the principles or the guidelines which is underlying the activities of the organization or an institution. So therefore, business policy means it says business means exchange of commodities and services for increasing utilities, whereas policy means it is the mode of thought and the principles and the guidelines which is underlying the activities of the organization or an institution. Policies are plans and they are the general statement, and they are called as a general statement of principles which will guide the thinking, activity or the decision making and the actions in an organization. Policies are the plans in which they are the general statement of principles which will guide the thinking, decision making and action, that is in an organization. Now coming to the difference between strategic management and policy, we can see that it deals with strategic decisions that decide a long-term health of an enterprise. So the strategic management or business policy is nothing but it deals with the strategic decisions that has to be taken or decided for the long-term health of an enterprise. And it is a comprehensive plan of action. This business policy or strategic management, it is a comprehensive plan of action which is designed in order to meet certain goals or certain specific objectives. And it offers the guidelines, that is the rules and the ways and the paths how the managers has to take an appropriate decision regarding that particular business. And it is also means of putting a policy into effect within certain time limits. Likewise, it is a general course of action with no definite time limit. Then it deals with, that is business policy or strategic management deals with those decisions which have not been encountered, that is before inquired and in the same form, for which no predetermined and explicit set of ordered response exists in the organization, and which are very important in terms of resources which are committed or precedent sets. And it is a guide to action in the areas of repetitive activity. And the fourth point says it deals with the crucial decision. Those implementing requires constant attention of top management, and once the policy decisions are formulated, then those can be delegated and implemented by others independently. And this strategic management are specific actions which are suggested in order to achieve the objectives of the organization. And whereas policies are the statement or a commodities accepted understanding of decision making. And strategies are action oriented, but policies are thought oriented. Then everyone is empowered to implement the strategy, but whereas power is delegated to the subordinates for implementation here. And strategies means to an end, but whereas policies are guidelines. The next difference is strategy is concerned with uncertainties, competitive situations, risks, etc. that are likely to take place at a future date. But whereas policy is in general concerned with the course of action, that is in order to fulfill the set objectives. The last point is strategies deployed in order to mobilize the activity or available resources of the best interest of the company, but whereas policy is an overall guide that governs and controls the managerial action. So these students, these are the 10 important differences between the strategic management and the business policy. Now coming to the next topic, that is regarding vision. What is a vision? It says vision is more dreamt than it is of articulated. That means, that is the reason why it says it's very difficult to say or to explain what a vision of an organization as. So for example, vision means like, so an organization will be thinking or it will be having a thought that it has to reach, or it has to see that after 5 years or 10 years from now, it should be number one in position in the market. So that can be a vision of an organization. Likewise, what is a mission? It is never same as vision, but it intends to tell the customers and the stakeholders or the shareholders both that in what way you want to serve them. What is the main purpose of why you are existing? So it may be simplified as a statement which says why an organization is existing, right? And describes certain other things like what is the motive behind, the purpose behind that particular operations of the company, and what makes this particular organization unique or something different, why it is intending to serve the people, what is the main purpose, why it is intended to serve the people, what it gets out of it, and what is the framework of the company's strategies. So these are nothing but the mission, it is a mission of that particular organization. So I told you what is a vision, that after 5 years or 10 years it should be number one position in the market. It should have a number one. So for that they should work on it. So mission will be how they are going to achieve that particular target or the objective, that is the vision. Now coming to the objectives. Objectives means it refers to the ultimate end result which are to be accomplished by the overall plan over a specific period of time. So objectives are nothing but it refers to the ultimate end results which are to be accomplished by the overall plan over a specific period of time. Then here we have the 4 distinct organizational levels. First is we have the corporate strategy, business strategy, functional strategy, and operational strategy. Now what do you mean by corporate strategy? Corporate strategy is the overall managerial game plan for a diversified company. It will extend the company's wide, that is an umbrella, overall a diversified company's business. And corporate strategy consists of the moves which is made to establish the business position in a different industries and the approaches which is used to manage the company's group of businesses. So corporate strategy means it is the overall managerial game plan for a diversified company. It extends companies wide, where like an umbrella over all the diversified companies' businesses. So this corporate strategy consists of the moves which has been taken in order to establish a position in a different industries as well as in the approaches used to manage the company's group of businesses. Now what is business strategy? The second part. The term business strategy or business level strategy refers to the managerial game. It is refers to the managerial game for a single business. It is mirrored in such a position or in a pattern of approaches where it says, and the moves have been crafted by management in order to produce the successful performance is one specific line of business. So business strategy means the term business strategy or business level strategy we call it as, it refers to the managerial game for a single business. It is mirrored where that means you can see that the pattern of the approaches and the moves which has been crafted or done by the management in order to produce the successful performance in one of the specific areas or line of business. Now coming to the third aspect or level of organization, that is the functional strategy. The term functional strategy means it refers to the managerial game plan for a particular functional activity. So it is a managerial game plan for a particular functional strategy or activity. So business process or the key departments within the business. So functional strategy refers to the managerial game plan for a particular that is the functional activity, or it can be for a business process or a key department within that particular organization or business. Now here a company needs a functional strategy for every major business activities. Why? And organization unit, because functional strategy, while narrow in the scope than business strategy, and it adds relevant details to overall business game plan. So its main aim is to establish or strengthen the specific competencies which have been calculated in order to enhance the company's market position. So I'll repeat, the functional strategy refers to the managerial game plan of a particular functional activity or business process or the key department within a business. And it says the company needs functional strategy for every major business activities or functions and organization units. And this functional strategy, while narrower in scope than business strategy, which adds a relevant detail to the overall business game plan. And the main aim of this functional strategy is to establish or to strengthen the specific competencies which has been calculated to enhance the company's market position. The fourth strategy is of operating strategy. Operating strategy means it concerns with the even narrow strategic initiatives and approaches for managing the key operating units, such as it may be the plants or sales district, distribution centers, etc., and for also handling the daily operating task or the work with the strategic significance, that is the advertising, campaignings, material purchasing, inventory control, maintenance and shipping. So operating strategies concerns with the even narrow strategic initiatives and approaches for managing the key operating units such as plants, sales districts, distribution centers, etc., and for also handling the daily operating task with strategic significance, such as advertising, campaigning, material purchase, inventory control, maintenance, shipping, etc. Now coming to the strategic planning, let us understand the meaning of strategic planning. Strategic planning is the art of creating specific business strategies. So strategic planning means it is the art of creating a specific particular business strategies, implementing them. First, when it has been created, then it should be implemented and it should be evaluated so that you can come to know the results for executing that particular plan in regard to the company's overall long-term goals or desires, such as it may be accounting, finance, marketing, human resource department will be integrated here. So strategic planning is the art of creating specific business strategies, implementing them and evaluating the results of executing the plan, and in regard to company's overall long-term goals or desires. So accounting, it may be accounting, finance, marketing or human resources department will be integrated under this particular strategic planning. Now coming to the strategic planning process, it says strategic planning process is very important because it requires considerable thought as well as the planning on part of company's upper level management. So strategic planning process is required. It requires considerable thought and planning on the part of company's upper level management. So before settling a plan of action and then determining how the strategic implement is, executives may consider many possible options, such as first is strategy formulation. This is one of the process of strategic planning. So in this process of formulating a strategy, the company will first assess its current situation. So they will assess the current situation first. How? By performing an internal and external audit. So by doing internal and external audit, they will come to know or assess what is the current position or situation of the company. The purpose of this is to help or identify the organization's strength and weakness. Why they are formulating this or why they are assessing this current situation, that is with the performing an internal external audit, because in order to know that and identify what are the strength and what are the weakness of organization, as well as what are the opportunities and what are the threats of the company. So we call them as SWOT analysis. S stands for, I told you, strength, W stands for weakness, O stands for opportunities and T stands for threats. Second is strategy implementation. See, after the strategy formulation or it is formulated, the company needs to establish a specific target, right, or the goals which is related to in putting that particular strategy into action, and they need to allocate the resources for the strategy execution. So strategy implementation means after strategy is formulated, the company needs to establish specific targets or goals related to putting the strategy into action, and also they need to allocate the resources for the strategy's execution. Thirdly, evaluation. So formulation is over, then the execution is over. Now coming to the evaluation part. So any business, if you take the business person wants to know what is the success of today, and it does not guarantee the success of tomorrow. So every business person knows that if you are successful in business today and tomorrow you are not sure or guarantee that you will be successful tomorrow also, right? So therefore it is very important for the managers to evaluate. To evaluate means to find out what is the performance of a chosen strategy. So if you have taken a strategy or chosen a particular strategy, they should evaluate what will be the performance of it, whether it will be a successful one or not after implementing that particular phase. And strategy evaluation surely involves three crucial activities, which are those, that is reviving the internal and external factors which are affecting the implementation of a particular strategy. And secondly, measuring the performance, how well that particular performance is being done, and also taking the corrective steps if there is some deviations in that particular performance, and make that particular strategy more effective by adopting a new customer relationship management. That is, we call it as customer relation management, a software program. So this is how the strategy evaluation takes place. Now, what are the benefits of a strategic planning? First and foremost, it says it helps to formulate a better strategies using the logical and systematic approach. Second, it enhances good communication between the employers and employees. Third, it says it empowers individuals working in a particular organization. So, strategic planning process, where it says the strategic planning process is integral to the company for a long-term success. So with the strategic plan in place, the business can surely be more effective, focus on its energies and strength, and therefore, and also it can use its resources for achieving the organizational goals. Students, there are 7 steps of strategic planning process. So first is understanding the need for a strategic plan. First and foremost, the organization of the company, they need to understand why there is a requirement or the need for a strategic plan. Secondly, accordingly, they need to set the goals or the objectives. Third part is they should develop the assumption or the premises, right? The fourth one is research different ways in order to achieve the objectives. So there may be so many options, so many choices will be there. So they need to do the research work in order to find out, in order to achieve the objectives. Then choose the plan of action out of various alternatives and choices. They need to find out and choose the best out of it. Then find a supporting plan, develop a supporting plan, because for the main plan you require always a supporting plan. Now for example, if you want to increase your production, surely you need to have a supporting plan, that is for purchasing of the raw materials. So that is important. Then implementing the strategic plan. So after doing all this, the last part is implementation of strategic plan. So once again, I'll explain to you about the 7 steps of strategic planning process. First and foremost, they should understand the need for strategic plan. Secondly, they should set the goals. Third is develop assumption or premises. Next, research different ways in order to achieve the objectives. Fifth is choose your plan of action. Sixth is develop a supporting plan, and the last is implementing the strategic plan. Now coming to the next topic, that is about the strategic intent. Now under strategic intents, we have 4 different intents. That is, one is stability grant strategies. Secondly is expansion growth strategies. Third is retrenchment strategies, and the combination, 4th is combination strategies. Now this particular stability grant strategy is an strategy, or this is an alternative, is useful when a firm pursues its original objective which is similar to the original one. So the alternative here is very useful when a firm pursues its original objective or objectives which is similar to the original one, or when the focus is of main strategic decision is on an incremental improvement or functional performance. Now coming to the expansion or sustainable growth strategy, it says the expansion and growth strategy is mainly aimed at increasing an organization's size through an increase its volume of production, then increasing the market share or the number of markets which is being served. And it can be achieved through either of the following ways, such as concentration, diversification, merger and acquisition. So the expansion and growth can be done through or achieved through this concentration or diversification or merger and acquisition. Now under this particular expansion and growth strategies, there is an expansion. You can expand your business, that is through concentric. Concentric means the concentric growth strategy, it is an alternative strategy where the firm goes into a particular business and which is related to the existing one. So already the business is doing a particular business. So now in this particular expansion through concentric, the business will go or take up another business which is of the same line and which is related to the same existing one. Say from the manufacturer of spare parts for passengers car to the manufacturer of spare parts for tractors. So already we can say here the manufacturer of spare parts for passengers cars, they are already in that particular business. Now they are going into another business where it is of the same line, manufacturing of spare parts for tractors. So they are already doing the cars, now they are manufacturing the tractors. Second is expansion to diversification. So diversification involves changes either in terms of customer groups, that is the type of customers being served, or it may be the customer functions such as the types or goods or services which are being sold to the customers, or it can be an alternative technologies, that is the production process being adopted. Now the types of diversification strategies, we have horizontal and vertical. So horizontal is where you are going like in a horizontal way, where the manufacturer will be going backwards and taking the suppliers of that particular items who are supplying the items, and he will be managing or he will start doing that supplying of the raw materials. And also in vertical it says, so in a vertical integration where the manufacturer will be going forward and he will be taking the or assigning the duty of the distribution part where it was assigned to somebody or particular distributor. So in this case the manufacturer will be taking the distribution also, he will be manufacturing the products along with he will be distributing his products also. So under vertical integration we have backward vertical integration and forward vertical integration, forward integration. The third one is conglomerate diversification. Under this conglomerate diversification, it says the company adopts expansion grand strategies when, that is where a firm wants to increase its market share. Secondly, expansion strategy can also be pursued when it becomes very important, necessary in order to meet or beat the competition. Now the company adopts expansion grand strategies when where a firm wants to increase its market share. Secondly, expansion strategy can also be pursued when it becomes more necessary in order to beat the competition. Then retrenchment strategies. Under this strategy it says it involves the reduction in the scope of diversification to the small number of business. Now it is all about the trimming of the excess operations in order to remain healthier. So retrenchment means it is nothing but trimming or cutting off the excess one in order to remain healthier. Now under this particular retrenchment strategies we have internal retrenchment and second one is external retrenchment. Then we come to the liquidation part. Liquidation is the final decisions or withdrawal of commercial activities of the firm forever. So forever you are coming out of that particular activity. And liquidation of a company is irrevocable because closing of a business of a company, basically it refers to proceeding by which the company is permanently closed or dissolved. Now coming to the last part, that is a combination strategy. It says it's when an organization adopts any of the following, such as merger. Merger means a firm may acquire another firm. That means it may purchase another firm or two or more firms, right, which may combine together. They may combine together in order to improve their competitive strengths and in order to gain control over the additional facilities and the market. Next, we have under that takeover, then joint venture. Joint venture strategic alliance is nothing but it is a venture, it is a temporary partnership. Venture means it is a temporary partnership between two or more companies in order to achieve certain goals or objectives. Now coming to the next part, strategy formulation. So definition of strategy formulation says is an analytical process of selection of the best suitable course of action in order to meet the organizational objectives and the vision. So the definition of strategy formulation says it is an analytical process of selection of the best suitable course of action in order to meet the organizational objectives and the vision. It is one of the important steps of the strategic management process, and this can be examined through SWOT analysis. What is SWOT analysis? SWOT is an acronym for strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. And the strategic plan should be informed to all the employees so that they would also come to know what is the company's objectives, what are the company's mission, what is the company's vision, etc. so that they can also do the work accordingly. So it provides the direction and focus to the employees. Establish organizational objectives, then analysis of organizational environment, forming quantitative goals, objective in contact with divisional plans, performance analysis, selection of strategy and levels of strategic formulation. Now coming to the corporate level strategy, it says this level outlines what you want to achieve. Corporate level strategies outlines or says what you want to achieve. It may be the growth, stability, acquisition or through retrenchment. So it mainly focuses on what business you are going to enter into a market. And whereas business level strategy level answers the question of how we are going to compete. So this will play a very important role in those organizations which have smaller units of business and each is considered as a strategic business units. And whereas functional level strategies concentrates on how an organization is going to grow, then it defines clearly the daily actions or the functions which has to be undertaken, including the allocation of resources to deliver the corporate and business level strategies in the organization. Now coming to the next important aspect, that is about SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is an assessment of a business which will surely ensure or concern with four aspects. That is, one is the strength, weakness, opportunities and the threats of a company. Now based on this particular four elements, all these elements in SWOT analysis can be listed in two groups, that is of internal and external analysis. Now if you see what is internal analysis, it is consisting of the strength and weakness. So internal analysis is totally of strength and weakness, which is referred or to any aspect within the business, such as it may be company's culture, organizational structure, employees, then company's capacity and brand awareness, financial resources and so on. Whereas external analysis, it means which you are concerning with or it concerns with opportunities and the threats for the company, which will surely focus on identifying the external factors which will influence the development of a business or a company. Now coming to the next aspect, that is TOWS matrix. Now TOWS matrix, it is interpreted as a framework or it is like a borderline to access or to assess the create, compare, assess, create, compare and finally decide upon the business strategy. Now this TOWS matrix begins with an audit of external threats and opportunities, whereas such kind of scrutiny surely will give a good insight and helps to adopt long-term strategies. Opportunities and threats fall under external factors and consist of government policies, dynamic nature of market, evolving tastes and preferences of customers, competition in the market, fluctuation rates, as well as the raw materials which is required for the production. Now under this we have four important TOWS strategies. One is SWO. SWO means strength and opportunity. Second is WO, weakness and opportunity. Then third is ST, strength and threats. And fourth is WT, weakness and threat. The next analysis of portfolio analysis. Portfolio means collection of investments, all owned by the same individual or an organization. So portfolio means it is a collection of investment which has been owned by a same individual or organization or a company. And portfolio may be defined as a bundle of securities. It can be defined as a bundle of securities. So the definition of portfolio analysis says it is a process of reviving, assessing the elements of entire portfolio of securities, that is through products or through the business items. Now coming to the portfolio management, what do you mean by portfolio management? Portfolio management means is the art and science of decision making. Art and science of decision making about the investment mix and the policy which is matching the investments to objectives, assets allocation for individuals and institutions, and balancing the risk against the performance. Now this means portfolio management basically deals with three important critical questions in the investment planning, such as where to invest, in which field or which area, which business you need to invest. Secondly, when to invest, which is the correct time or the right time to invest. Thirdly, how much to invest. So these are the three important questions which arises in this portfolio management. Now, why you need this portfolio management? What is the importance or requirement of this portfolio management? It says it represents the best investment plans to an individuals as per their income, budget, age-wise, and ability to undertake the risk. So portfolio management is very important because it will surely give you the idea regarding the best investment plan, where to invest, when to invest, how to invest, all this into the individuals, that is for the persons, as well as per their income, their budget, their age-wise and ability in order to undertake the risk. And portfolio management surely minimizes the risk involved in investing, and also it increases the chance of making more profits. Now coming to the elements of portfolio management, under this we have proper asset allocation, second is diversification, third is rebalancing and restructuring, fourth is portfolio selection, and fifth one is efficient portfolio. Now coming to the next important aspect, that is related to BGC matrix. BCG matrix. B stands for Boston, C stands for consulting, and G stands for group. So that is why we call it as BCG in a short form. Boston Consulting Group. It is this BCG matrix is a 4-celled matrix, 2x2 matrix, which is developed by BCG USA. Relative market share equals that is strategic business unit sales this year leading to competitor sales in the current year, and market growth rate equals the industry sales this year minus industry sales of last year. Now under this we have 4 important elements. One is star, then cash cows. So star represents the business units which is having the large market share in a fast growing industry. So they may generate cash, but because of fast growing market, star requires huge investment in order to maintain their lead. But whereas cash cows represents business units having a large markets in the mature as well as it will be a slow growing industry. So cash cows requires little investment and generate cash that can be utilized only for the investment purpose in the other business units. So students, these are the important aspects related to your revision part of your business policy of unit 1 and 2. So hope you understood this revision. So go through the videos, the concept class videos along with this particular revision class videos, and also refer the notes, so that it will be easy for you and it will be helpful, more helpful for your part of examination. So see you in the next session. We'll continue with another 3rd and 4th in the next session, session that is of revision class. So till then, take care. Have a nice day. Thank you.